Good evening. Uh-oh. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Night Court. Court is now in session. Session. Good evening. We have had a busy day here on Trial Watch with Demetra. We are off to a good start this week. For me, I don't know why. I keep feeling like it's the first week of March and it's the last week of February. Okay. But we are off to an excellent start, and I see y'all are ready to start this trial. Shout out to my bailiff, one of my bailiffs, Winter. Wait a minute. Winter is the head bailiff in charge. Lady Steph is the sergeant at arms. And Living just got a title that's so new, I can't remember what it is. Living. Anybody remember Living new title? It's so new, I forgot what it is. It's something called something with the court me something COM or something like that. Oh, Lordy. Can somebody remember and tell me, please, what's Living's new working title? Hopefully she remembers it. I was supposed to write it down. Well, we'll remember. But good evening to you, Winter. Hey, Tanya McNeil, welcome back. Hey, Miss Steph 219, girl, that was hollering for you today. Somebody say, where is Miss Steph 219? My. Okay, Miss Steph 219 has literally taken over Johnny Gill's patent trademark signature statement. My. Johnny Gill has nothing on Miss Steph 219. Okay. Hey, Miss Queenie 98. Hello. Welcome and thank you for joining us here in Night Court. We are starting this trial. I know that you're interested in the murder trials. Good evening, Kurt Vixen. Hey, Kathy Smith. Welcome back. You have been with us all day. Hey, C. Dupree. Hello, OG Woo Child. We are back. I am enjoying this. Good. Wait. Hey, and Renee, I'm working but listening in. Cool. Let's see. This is worse than crash studying for 20 tests at the same damn time. Hell, today, Demetri about to fry all our brains trying to focus and remember important details of the trial. She damn triple bipolar. Well, baby, we about to see how good... we about to see how good y'all are at wait a minute. Like compartments, but lies in it. Compartmentalizing. Say that. Wait. Hold on. This word is not gonna get the best of me. Compartmentalizing. Compartmentalize. That don't sound right. Compartmentalizing. Okay, let me try over. Scratch that, okay? Little Lane Jury Box, we're about to see how good we are at compartmentalizing, okay? Because we have quite agenda going into this new month. We just started a trial during daytime court. I gotta come with a day name. If somebody think of a cute daytime trial watch name, let me know in the comments or just let me know. But this is night court. I need a name for like the daytime court. But we just start compartmentalize. We just started a new trial, the bedtime murders, which is kind of a sensitive case with involving the death of a 5-year-old daughter, another 8-year-old son getting injured at the hands, they say, they're alleging, of their father. Okay, we just started that trial this afternoon. Make sure you guys join me in the daytime court hearings. Watch, we picked it up this afternoon, and we will be on the case with that with extended lives. You know, those lives when we're actually watching a real trial in progress. We normally stay live for like 4, maybe 5 hours. So hey. We just started that today. Miss Step 219, you may be interested. That's going to be an interesting one to you. It's already, we listened to an hour and a half today of the day one opening statements and a couple of the first witnesses, and it was already something else. We was already kind of questioning and having little mini debates. That's going to be very interesting. It is a black, not being racist or nothing, but hey, I'm interested in things that's interesting to me, and it is a young black family. That's the topic. So hey, and tonight we're starting the Murdaugh murder trials. You know, in 2021, 2022, 2023, this whole investigation, crime, everything. You watched it? Okay, cool. Hey, Full Soldier, this Murdaugh murder deal captivated the country. For it had the country, the true crime, in a chokehold for a long time. And I always heard bits and pieces and something about the Stephen Smith and something about the girl in the boat, and then find out that he was smoking crack or methamphetamines or something. Then it was something to do with it was just so much with this story. And I put the episode, that's a hateful soldier. I put the link to the 48 hours episode on the wall last night for homework, right? And of course I watched it myself. And I'm not gonna lie, when I watched that 48 hours episode, I was like, oh my God, this just has too much. It's like so much. But nevertheless, I did not watch the trial. I didn't follow it intently. So this is going to be all new to me, as much as just the in and outs of the trial. So who's on trial? In the center there was the illustrious, in air quotes, Alex Murdaugh, the patriarch of the Murdaugh family, generational wealth there in South Carolina. The third in the line of attorneys that started their own firm and rose to prominence in position and in all the good things, right? It's something about these folks and their money and their wealth. They can't seem to find no peace and happiness, it seems, right? To the left is his wife, Maggie. The young redhead over there is Paul. The oldest boy to the right is Buster. It's alleged that Alex Murdaugh unalived his wife and his youngest son by way of gunshots. The reasons for it, I don't know exactly what the motive is and what the motive could be. Is it money? Was it money? I don't know. Yes, and he's still in court back and forth. That's because he's still, at the time of this trial for these murders, he still had another 84 charges dealing with scams, embezzlement, theft, all kind of stuff. Come to find out, he was just a really bad actor. Okay, so I'm going to learn about the trial as we embark upon the trial. Living, I can't remember what your new title is, girl. Do you have your title? I forgot what your title is. Can you tell me your title again? So let's jump into this. This is a long trial, and so this is going to be a slow burner. We're not going to rush to the end line. To the end. To the finish line. We're not in a rush. We're going to get there and take our time, and we're going to be here each night. Hey, Mike Lewis. Hey, Demetria in chat. Man, if you look at a picture of his eyes, I swear by it, you see the void in his soul and the darkness in his eyes. Well, it's something about those eyes that set like that. They be kind of slow. No offense if you got a little slow eyes like that. That's not my fault. But it's something about them eyes that sit like that in people's head. You know something wrong with them. This is just a quick short, and then we're going to jump into the trial. Let's see. Uh-oh. Please hit the like. Thank you. And Mike, welcome to the Little Lane Jury Box. Good to see you. Uh-oh. Child. YouTube won't let me be great. Uh-oh. It just skipped past that. Oh, well. I guess we need to just get started with the trial. Hold on. Oh, uh, um, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't even think this day one of the trial. I had it already set up. Maybe I had too many things going on. This way at the sentencing. Let me see. Okay. Hold on, y'all. The best laid plans. Okay, I feel like them people in the Who Shot the Sheriff. I sit and plan things out every Friday for 6 months, and this is what I end up with. Okay, let's go over here. I already got it set up. Okay. Okay, Rock just knocked the puppy out again. Let me see. And they've been acting so good today. They're just running together thick as thieves. Is he okay? Okay. All right. Let's see. Boom. Y'all be patient with me. Every once in a while, it be thrown off around here. But some days we get it almost perfect. All right. There we go. 10. What is this? Wait a minute. Wait. Oh my God. Yeah, this it. I don't know who these people talking in front of it is. Wait. Oh my God. Y'all. Okay, I had to get it together. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with this day one, but anywho. Without further delay, using fair usage, day one, the Murdaugh murder trial. Opening statements.
For the jury, that person will
Thank
have the
y'all for your patience.
responsibility of presiding over the jury deliberations.
Hey,
And that
BAC.
person will have the responsibility of
Hey, sweet
completing
merciful Dre, good to
the
see you.
verdict form representing the unanimous verdict of the jury. In just a moment, the Attorney General will make an opening statement in which he will explain the
Did you tell me your
issues
title?
as he sees it, or as the Attorney General sees it. Following that, the defense counsel will have that same opportunity. Then we'll begin with the presentation of testimony
OCM. I said the
from
COM,
witnesses.
girl.
I look forward to working with you on this case and to keep the case moving as
I said it was the COM. Okay,
reasonable
it's
as
the
we can
official
keep it
court
moving.
mediator. Thank you
But
very
we will
much.
not
Shut up.
rush,
And our official
but
court
take the time
mediator.
necessary
Oh,
to
it's a
have
black
this case
judge.
fully
How you know that?
presented to you. We'll now proceed to opening statements by the
Just go.
state.
Good.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay,
May it please
I'm
the
quiet.
court. On the evening of June 7th, 2021, at the defendant's property off Moselle Road in Colleton County, his son Paul Murdaugh was standing in a small feed room and some kennels they had on the property. About 8:50 p.m., and the defendant over there, Alec Murdaugh, took a 12-shade shotgun and shot him in the shoulder, in the chest and the shoulder with buckshot. And the evidence is going to show it was a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. He could have survived that, but after that, another shot went up under his head and did catastrophic damage to his brain and his head. The evidence is going to show that Paul collapsed right outside that feed room. And just moments later, he picked up a .300 Blackout, which is a type of ammunition, but an AR-style rifle. And the evidence is going to show that the family had multiple weapons throughout the property, picked up that .300 Blackout rifle, and opened fire on his wife, Maggie, just feet away near some sheds that used to be a hangar. Pow, pow. 2 shots, abdomen and the leg, and took her down. And after that, there were additional shots, including 2 shots to the head that again did catastrophic damage and killed her instantly. The evidence is going to show that neither Paul nor Maggie had any defensive wounds. Neither one of them had any defensive wounds, as if they didn't see a threat coming from their attacker. And the evidence is also going to show that both Maggie and Paul were shot at extremely close range. The evidence is going to show it's called stippling. It's almost like a tattoo, that when you get shot very close to a weapon, it leaves marks that the forensic pathologist can see. They were shot at close range and they did not have defensive wounds. And the evidence is going to show that the defendant, Alec Murdaugh over there, told anyone who would listen that he was never at those kennels. But the evidence is also going to show from these things that every one of us, most of us carry around in our pocket, that he was there. And he was there just minutes before, with Maggie and Paul, just minutes before their cell phones go silent forever and ever. Despite what he told people, I was never at those kennels, the cell phones are going to show otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Creighton Waters. I'm with the Attorney General's office and I'll be the lead prosecutor. I introduced myself before. With me is David Fernandez, Savannah Gow, John Metters, Don Zelinka, John Conrad, and Johnny James. A lot of lawyers. This is a big case. It's a very complicated case, and that's why there's so many people working on it. Sitting back in the row, we have David Owen, who's the lead investigator. We have Lieutenant Charles Gent, who's one of the agents, Special Agent Ryan Kelly, and Special Agent Peter Rudolph. Some of the agents that are working on the case, as well as Investigator Isaac Toledo, who's working on the case as well. There's some of the witnesses that you'll hear from as we go through this case. The judge talked to you a little bit about him being the judge of the law, and he gives you the law. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the legal concepts before I turn back to those facts. Just remember, though, he's the judge of the law, so you take what he says, but I'm going to explain to you some of the legal issues from my perspective before we talk a little bit more about the evidence in the case.
That goes for me too.
And the first thing is, right before you went to lunch, y'all all took an oath. Everybody in this courtroom who's got involvement in this case takes an oath. You know, attorneys take an oath to become an attorney, take another oath to become a prosecutor, judge takes another oath to become a judge, witnesses take oath on the stands, law enforcement take oaths to become law enforcement, but y'all took an oath as well. And the reason why is that y'all have the most important job in this courtroom. Every one of you raised your hand and said that you would well and truly try this case. And it's the most important job here because, like the judge said, he's the judge of the law, but y'all are the judge of the facts. Y'all are going to listen to what comes from that witness stand and judge those facts. But you also have to be mindful of that oath. That oath requires you to do that hard job, to make that decision, to call the strike when you see it. It's the same oath. It's just as important as any other oath. This might be the most important in this courtroom. The judge mentioned reasonable doubt, and he's exactly right. It's the state's burden to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. That is a cornerstone of our country. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a burden we welcome. It's what we want. It's a system that has been well tested and true, and we take that burden to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But I want to remind everyone that the emphasis is on reasonable. Okay? It's not any doubt. It is reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is often defined, and again, you listen to the judge how he defines it, but reasonable doubt is a doubt that would cause a reasonable person to hesitate to act. To hesitate to act. And when you hear the evidence coming from this stand about this particular case, I submit to you, you won't hesitate to act. Again, remember the emphasis is on reasonable and reasonable doubt. The judge mentioned the charges, and there are 4 of them. First indictment accuses Alec Murdaugh, to which he's pled not guilty, but it accuses him of murdering Maggie Murdaugh. The second indictment accuses him of murdering Paul Murdaugh. The third indictment accuses him of possessing a firearm during the commission of a violent crime, that being the murder of Maggie Murdaugh. And the last one accuses him of possessing a firearm during the commission of a violent crime, and that being the murder of Paul Murdaugh. And what does that mean? What is murder? Well, the judge again is going to instruct you, but it is the unlawful killing of another with malice aforethought. And what is malice? Malice is a mental state. That's ultimately going to be for y'all to determine as to what was going through Alec Murdaugh's mind when he committed these crimes. What is malice? Malice has often been defined as the intentional doing of a wrongful act without just cause or excuse. It is the intent to inflict an injury under circumstances that the law would presume an evil intent. An evil intent. And when you look at the circumstances of the crime, when you look at what led up to this crime, the evidence is going to show that there was malice aforethought. Aforethought, what does that mean? It means it has to exist at the moment you commit that crime. It doesn't have to be planned. It doesn't have to be planned for any long period of time. It just has to exist a split second before the crime is committed. But when you see this crime and you hear all the circumstances, the evidence is going to show that aforethought existed for a while. It existed for a while in the mind of Alec Murdaugh. You're also going to hear about circumstantial evidence. And a lot of times people hear, oh, it's just a circumstantial case, but the law says otherwise. The law says that circumstantial evidence is just as good as direct evidence. And what's the difference between the two? Direct evidence is supposedly about the storm out here, from what I'm told. Direct evidence is if it's sunny outside and a witness goes outside and it's sunny and they come in here and they get on that witness stand and because they saw it raining, they sit on the stand and said, I was just outside and I saw it raining. I saw it raining. That's direct evidence. They actually saw it raining. But to give you an example of what circumstantial evidence is if the witness goes into a room where all the curtains are drawn, and when they go into that room, it's sunny outside and everything's dry. And while they're in that room, they see it darken behind the shades. They hear thunder. They hear the wind blowing. They hear the sound of raindrops on the roof. And then they open up the door, and it's not raining, but everything is wet. There's puddles in the driveway. There's puddles in the street. There's puddles in the yard. There's limbs down all over the ground.
Okay.
And then they come in here and say, yeah, it was raining. Didn't actually see it raining, but those circumstances are beyond any reasonable doubt that it was actually raining. Now, I guess it's possible that somebody could have been standing outside their window and beating a drum to sound like thunder and blowing a fan to make it seem like it was the wind and somehow got enough water to coat the entire neighborhood. But that's not a reasonable doubt. Everybody understand that distinction? That's not a reasonable doubt. Another thing, and this is crucial, what you're going to do in this particular case, is determine credibility or the
Welcome back,
believability
Sean.
of witnesses. So it would be your job to look at the evidence, the exhibits in the case, but also the witnesses and decide if it's truthful, if you believe it, if you can rely on it. And the judge is going to instruct you that you can believe one witness against many or many witnesses against one. You can believe all the witnesses' testimony or part of the witness' testimony. It's up to you, first individually and then as a product of your deliberations. And what you're required to do there is just to rely on that good old-fashioned common sense. Does it all fit together? Is it corroborated? Does it fit with what you would expect? Does it fit with what you expect how real people would act? Does it seem real? Does something seem a little off? Does something seem a little off? You're going to see video statements of Alec Murdaugh. You're going to see body-worn camera of him at the scene when law enforcement arrives. And hear what he says. And hear what he says about that night. You're going to hear 3 recorded statements on video that he gave with law enforcement. And you're going to hear how things progress about what he says and what he says he did that night. Watch those closely. Watch his expressions. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's not saying. Use that common sense. Does this seem right? Or does something seem a little off? Something seems a little off. I mentioned that Maggie was killed with a .300 blackout rifle, an AR-style rifle, but chambered in .300 blackout ammunition. And you're going to hear evidence that back in Christmas of 2016, Alec Murdaugh over there bought 2 .300 blackout AR-style rifles. And that not long after that, one of them went missing from Paul's truck. And time went by, and in April of 2018, Alec Murdaugh replaced that rifle and bought another one. 3 total blackout rifles that they had. One of them went missing years ago, and a replacement was bought. You're going to hear evidence that Paul and his friend were using that replacement gun. They were standing right outside the side door to the gun room of the house, and they were sighting it in, firing down into a field. And the cases were ejecting. The cases are the empty shell from a bullet, and they were ejecting out into the flower bed right there. And then there's a range across the street, and they shot it there, and there's cases ejected there as well. And they were shooting that 3rd replacement gun just weeks prior to the murders. prior to June 7th, 2021, when Maggie and Paul were murdered. And you're going to hear forensic evidence that the cases that were found in that flower bed and the cases that were found across the street at that range were ejected out of the same weapon that fired all the cases that were around Maggie's dead body, that killed her. It was a family weapon that killed Maggie Murdaugh. And you're going to hear evidence that of those 3 blackouts that Alec Murdaugh purchased, when law enforcement arrives at the scene on June 7th, 2021, he can only account for one of them. He can only account for one of them. And that replacement gun is nowhere to be found. You're also going to hear evidence that the type of ammunition, the exact brand, the exact model of ammunition that was used to kill Maggie, S&B, 300 blackout ammunition and 147 grain bullets, that exact ammunition, boxes, empty boxes of that ammunition, is found all over the property. The very same brand and model of ammunition that was used to kill her is found at multiple locations throughout the property. And you're also going to hear evidence, the same thing about the shotgun shells that killed Paul. That federal double-aught buckshot unfired rounds were found on the property, as well as Winchester #2 turkey loads, the 2 rounds in the shotgun that killed Paul. Family weapon, same ammunition. It's on the property. You're also going to hear evidence that about a week after the murders, Mr. Alec Murdaugh's father had died, Mr. Randolph, and about a week after the murders, he shows up early in the morning at his parents' home, where his mother still is in late-stage Alzheimer's, on Alameda in Hampton. It's uncharacteristic for him to show up early, uncharacteristic for him to show up at all like that. And he comes in and he's carrying something in a blue tarp, and he takes it upstairs. And eventually law enforcement finds out about that. And they go upstairs and they find a wadded up, very, very large raincoat in a blue color. Could look like a tarp. And you're going to hear evidence that it was coated with gunshot residue on the inside. On the inside. You're going to hear other evidence of gunshot residue. You're going to hear that there was gunshot residue on Alec at the scene. You're going to hear the evidence that there was gunshot residue on the seatbelt of the car he was driving. You're going to hear evidence that when law enforcement got to the scene, he had gone and gotten a shotgun, Paul's shotgun, and that Maggie's DNA was on that shotgun. You're going to hear other evidence from DNA, gunshot residue, firearms examiners. There's going to be a lot of forensic evidence in this case. And I'm not going to get into every single bit of it right now, but I will say that a key piece of forensic evidence that you're going to hear in this case is the cell phone evidence. Alec's cell phone, Maggie's cell phone, Paul's cell phone. You know, this is all amazing technology that most of us carry around in our pockets. It really allows us to do a lot of things and to get a lot done. But this cell phone keeps track of who we're talking to, who we're calling, who we're texting, whenever we access apps. And every time you do that, there's a record kept in this phone unless it's deleted somehow. And if you're using certain apps, you can even get GPS information where you were when you did that that's stored on these phones. You're going to hear evidence about that. You're going to hear evidence that when you make a call and it pings off of cell towers, that location information can be gathered from that as well. And so it allows an investigation to take this and piece together what someone was doing on a particular day, and not only what they were doing, but who they were interacting with and how they were interacting with them. And this is going to be crucial evidence for you to consider. You're going to hear that particularly Alec and Paul, but also Maggie, were prolific cell phone users, to the point where Paul's friends even had a nickname for him about his cell phone usage. Before I talk more about that, there's 3 family properties I need to talk about, okay? The first one I've mentioned is Moselle. Moselle in Colleton County. It's called Moselle, it's off of Moselle Road, but everybody refers to it as Moselle. And that property is there's a lot of acres. There's a main house on it, and there's a driveway that goes to that main house, but it used to be an airstrip, and there's an airstrip that goes down, and then down the way, just less than a third of a mile away, just a 3-minute walk, 4-minute walk, 45-second drive, is the kennels and the shed that used to be a hangar where Paul and Maggie were murdered. So the main house is just less than a third of a mile away. You can see the kennels from the main house. You can see the main house from the kennels. The family also had a house in Edisto at the beach. And the evidence is going to show that that is where Maggie preferred to stay, particularly in the summer months. She liked the beach. She was not a hunter. She didn't want to be at Moselle. She didn't want to be at the lodge where it was hot and buggy. She liked being in Edisto. And then you're also, I've already mentioned, the house in Alameda, which is where his parents' home. On June 7th, 2021, you're going to hear evidence that his father went into the hospital and the prognosis was not good. And in fact, he died a few days later. And his mother is in late stage Alzheimer's, and that house being cared for by a caretaker, and you're going to hear from that caretaker.
Mr. Waters.
Yes, sir.
Let me pause for a moment. We'll be at ease for just a moment.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Good. So let's pause, because y'all, this is a big trial. So let's not forget that we got the trial watch with Demetra, the Lit Lane Jury Box legal pad, okay? So just like you see him doing, like you saw Living just say, hey, Demetra, don't forget, you got to remember the properties. Certain little key notes and stuff, or key testimony we just heard. Definitely, kind of say, hey, Demetra, put that on the legal pad so we can come back to it, because, I might miss something. Okay? So what I caught was, I heard the Moselle property. That was where the main house at, right? Then they got the Alameda property. That's where the parents live, right? And then I think the Edison. Now, was the Edison property like the beach house? Is that what I heard him say? I'm sorry. Lit Junior came up in here bothering me. Your friend still here? Okay, so one moment. All right, let's get back. I don't know why I paused it while they was breaking. That was crazy. That was crazy. So she stayed there a lot. Is this a case, another case for these rich people? They don't even be living together or sleeping together, be on different sides of the house? Which that's supposed to be a big thing now. Child, I'm working. I could barely pay attention. What happened? What they doing? Baby, look how packed that court is. Everybody, their mama and daddy came to court. Look at Buster with that red hair. That's the oldest son. That's the surviving son. Here go the family, y'all. Now, I ain't gonna even lie. And if y'all been watching and supporting me for a while, y'all know my favorite type of white person, no offense, but my favorite type of Caucasian is redheads. Because y'all know I'm a natural redhead. Y'all see my picture in the corner over there. Okay. And this summer, I'm going to have to go back to my red hair because I am a natural redhead with green eyes. I love redhead white people. Well, I don't know about all that. I love them, but I like redhead white people the most. I think they just so neat looking, especially they little kids.
Moselle.
A bunch of gingers. Mm-hmm. But I digress. I digress.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Ron. were talking about the 3 family properties. Moselle has the main house and the kennels / sheds. The main house has a driveway, but the kennels also have a driveway. And the evidence is going to show that that was actually as commonly used as the main driveway. In fact, the mailbox is by the kennel driveway. Driving right past those kennels were Paul and Maggie were murdered.
Welcome back, Lady T.
I told you that you're going to hear evidence that Maggie did not like being in Moselle as much as she liked Eddystone, the beach house. With that, on June 7th, 2021, she came back to Moselle.
That's the day of the murders, June 7th,
And
2021.
the evidence is going to show that she arrived about 8:15,
She should have stayed at the beach house.
and the evidence is going to show that from the cell phones that Paul was there at the house, at the main house. And Alec Murdaugh himself says that they ate dinner, and the autopsy is going to reflect both Paul and Maggie having similar stomach contents, indicating that they recently shared a meal together. About 8:30,
I'm ignoring him.
but 15 minutes after they arrived, Paul's phone starts moving towards the kennels. You're going to hear evidence again that the defendant said he was never at those kennels, that he was napping after they ate, and he was at the main house and never went there. You're also going to hear evidence about how much Alec used his own cell phone, and it would be unusual for him to be anywhere without his cell phone. At 8:44 and 55 seconds, Paul recorded a video. He was down at the kennels because he had been talking to a friend of his, and you're going to hear from this friend because his friend's dog was in the kennels and they thought there was something wrong with the tail. And Paul was recording a video of it to send to his friend. 8:44 and 55 seconds. And on that video, and you'll see that video, and you'll hear from witnesses that identify Paul's voice, Maggie's voice, and Alec's voice. Told anyone who would listen he was never there. At 8:44 and 55 seconds, there's a video. The evidence will show that he was there. He was at the murder scene with the 2 victims. And more than that, just over 3 minutes later, 8:49 and 1 second, Paul's phone locks forever. He never reads another text. He never sends another text. He doesn't answer calls. 3 minutes after that video has the defendant at the murder scene with the 2 victims, Paul's phone goes silent forever. And in fact, another communication comes into the very friend that he was talking to the dog at 8:49 and 35 seconds, just 35 seconds later, and he doesn't answer it. He never answers another thing forever and ever. And on top of that, Maggie's phone locks at 8:49 and 31 seconds, around that same time, and she never answers another text, never sends another text, never makes another phone call, never receives another phone call. 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes after a video shows he's at the scene with the victims, and he told everybody he was never there. Never there. Credibility, ladies and gentlemen. Credibility. So what happens after that? Well, you'll hear evidence that Alec's phone was conspicuously, didn't have a lot of activity from about 8:09 p.m. until 9:02 p.m. And if he was at the kennels, which the evidence will show, why is his phone not with him? Why is it not showing activity? But you will hear that at 9:02, all of a sudden his phone does start to pick up activity. At 9:02, he starts moving. At 9:04, he calls Maggie's phone. Doesn't answer, of course. Doesn't answer. He calls his father, Randolph, who's in the hospital. Doesn't appear there's an answer there. He calls Maggie again at 9:06. Remember, he's just a third of a mile away. You can see it. At 9:06, she doesn't answer. At 9:06, he turns on his car, his Suburban, and he texts Maggie that he's going, be right back. I'm going to go check on Mom. And he doesn't drive down to the kennels, even though that's where the mailbox is. That's a common place to be, even though you can see it. He's called his wife 2 times and texted her, and she hasn't responded. But he didn't just drive down there and say, hey, I'm heading. You guys want to go? What's up? What's up? Right there. You can see it. He then drives to Alameda, where his mom is suffering from Alzheimer's, and the caretaker is there. And he starts calling people. He's talking to people. It'll be up to you to decide whether or not he's trying to manufacture an alibi. He gets there to Alameda. You'll hear evidence about whether or not that was usual. You'll hear evidence about how he was acting when he got there. And he's only there for 20 minutes because he's back underway at 9:44. And he makes more phone calls on the way back. Calling friends, calling people who will answer. It'll be up to you to decide whether he's trying to create an alibi. And he gets back to Moselle at 10:01, and he calls 911 at 10:06. Listen to that 911 call. Listen to what he says. Listen to what explanations he may offer. You're going to hear that 911 call, but you're also going to see the body-worn camera of the officers who arrived at the scene. The video camera they wear so that it records what they're doing. And you're going to see what he did to Maggie and Paul. It's going to be gruesome. There's no other way around it. It's what he did. You're going to see crime scene photographs. You're going to see the traumatic injuries that were suffered. You're going to hear from a pathologist, a doctor who will examine the injuries. It's going to be gruesome. There's no other way around it. On that 911 call and on the body-worn cameras, pay attention to what he says. Look at how he's acting. But he says within a few minutes of each one of those, he says, this is about the boat case. This is about the boat case. And you're going to hear some of what was going on in Alex Murdaugh's life leading up to that day. Stuff that happened that very day, stuff that was leading up, a perfect storm that was gathering, much like the storms that are coming outside today. Listen for that evidence. Listen to that gathering storm that all came to a head on June 7th, 2021, the day the evidence will show he killed Maggie and Paul. This has been a long, exhaustive investigation. And it's going to be a fairly long trial because it's complicated. It's a journey. There's a lot of aspects to this case. There's a lot of factors to this case. But like a lot of things that are complicated, when you start to put them all together, piece them together like a puzzle, all of a sudden the picture emerges and it's really simple. It's really simple. Once we get to the end of that journey, and you have a chance to deliberate, the evidence is going to be such that you're going to reach the inescapable conclusion that Alec murdered Maggie and Paul, that he was the storm, that the storm was coming for them. And the storm arrived on June 7th, 2021, just like the storms that are heading here right now, that they died as a result, beyond any reasonable doubt. Thank you.
Told the storm. There's got to be one of his relatives back there with
For the
that polka dot
defense.
shirt on. She's got a mouth
Your
like
Honor.
his.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Dick Harpootlian. I think I introduced myself to y'all and the attorneys, the three other attorneys, Jim Griffin, Philip Barber, Margaret Fox. It is our honor to represent Alec Murdaugh, or Murdaugh, depending on how you pronounce it. I say it's our honor because I submit to you what you have heard from the Attorney General as facts are not. They're his theories, his conjecture. Now stand up. This is Alec Murdaugh. And Alec was the loving father of Paul and the loving husband of Maggie. You're not going to hear a single witness say that their relationship, Maggie and Alex's relationship, were anything other than loving. You're going to hear about how they went to a baseball game the weekend before. You're going to hear about their relationship. You're going to see texts and emails indicating a loving relationship. Paul, the apple of his eye. You're going to see a video somewhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock the night of the murders with Paul and Alec riding around looking at some trees they planted. It's a Snapchat that Paul sent to other people because the trees were not planted very well. They were cantilevering over. They're laughing. They're having a good time. That would be about an hour before the Attorney General says he swatted them. When I say he swatted them, when they were swatted, and no question, Paul Murdaugh was shot twice with buckshot, 12-gauge buckshot, once in the chest. And by the way, that shot would indicate it was in the chest and came out under his arm, like somebody that might have been holding up their hands. So when he says no defensive wounds, he perhaps is being held at shotgun. I mean, I can make the same sort of speculation that the Attorney General can, because that's all he's doing is speculating. What we do know is 12-gauge, fairly close range shot to the chest. He must have been turned because it comes out under his arm. There's wadding, if you're familiar with a shotgun, under his arm. The second shot ended up, and there's going to be some question about the direction of that shot, but ended up entering his skull cavity, and the gases from that shot literally exploded his head like a watermelon hit with a sledgehammer. All that was left was the front of his face. Everything else was gone. His brain exploded out of his head, hit the ceiling in the shed, and dropped to his feet. Horrendous, horrible, butchering. So to find Alec Murdaugh guilty of murdering his son, you're going to have to accept that within an hour of having a extraordinarily bonding, you can see it in the Snapchat, that he executes him in a brutal fashion. Not believable. Not believable. Now, Maggie is shot running. There's no defensive wounds because she's shot running, and after she falls to the ground and has one bullet that has hit her and probably traveled up and hit her brain, she's on the ground, and whoever the perpetrator was walked up, took that AR and put one in the back of her head. Executed. Executed. Why? This is going to be interesting because we don't know why. He doesn't know why. He's got theories of this and theories of that, but why? Number one. Number two, what was it in that hour between when he's yucking it up with Paul? And let me say this to you. His record, he was interviewed, he comes home and finds, there's no question about this, they've got telemetry from his car. He left the house at 9:06, returns at 10:01 after seeing his mother who has dementia. Now remember, that day, his father, who is dying, is taken to the hospital. Mom's home alone with the housekeeper. Perfectly reasonable for him to want to go see her. And later than usual, because his father's not there. He's in the hospital. He dies 2 days later. His father dies 2 days later. So the question is, if he leaves at 9:06 and he's back at 10:01, he literally, I mean, and he can account, the cars and the cell phone records account for where he was between 9:06 and 10:01. Now the cell phone records, and you're going to hear this from their own experts, are incomplete. They're incomplete. And we're to submit, one of the reasons they're incomplete, and by the way, how do they find Maggie's phone? Maggie's phone was thrown out on the side of the road about a quarter of a mile away from, a little bit more, maybe a half a mile, from the Moselle property, thrown out on the side of the road. They found it by using Find My iPhone. And the way they did that, they had to open it or have access. Who gave them the code to open the phone? Now, Murdaugh. And it's not destroyed, it's just thrown on the side of the phone. What you're also going to see is that Alec Murdaugh was calling that phone at 9:06. As he leaves the house, he did call her twice and texted her. And we also know that at 9:06, as he cranks his car, as the cell phone records show that, as the telemetry data shows the cell phone linking up with the car, that phone is being thrown on the side of the road almost a half a mile away. Now that is Houdini. That is magic. That is inexplicable. Now, I was making notes while the Attorney General was talking. But let me tell you what is more believable. The night he comes home and finds his wife and son butchered. And when I say butchered, you're going to see these photographs. When I see them now, after having seen them for the last 4 or 5 months, it still shocks me. It still is tough to look at. It still bothers me. And he comes home and finds his son laying in his own blood with his brain laying at his feet, shot to hell. He walks over, he checks to see if there's any life there, although, I mean, he's seeing his brain laying outside his body. He knows there's nothing there. He goes over and tries to get a pulse out of Maggie. No pulse there. Calls 911. I want you to hear that 911 tape. It is a man hysterical, in grief, trying to figure out what's going on. And he tells the 911 operator that he's concerned, and he drives back up to the house. And by the way, you can't see, I've been out there, you can't see the shed where you might see the top of the shed. There are pine trees between the front porch or the porch on the house and the dog pens. And it's not a third of a mile, maybe by the way the crow flies, but it takes a little bit longer to drive down there. And this is not unusual for them to communicate by cell phone or text, even when they're all on the same property. It's 1,100 acres, big property. They hunted it. So What I'm trying to say to you is that the Attorney General has given you his view. And again, you can't see the shed. And I'm going to ask the judge at some point during this trial to ask you, the jury, to be able to go to the scene so you can see it. You can understand the proportions. You can understand the details. Because the facts are what matter here. The facts. Let me give you another fact. You're going to hear their witnesses explain the catastrophic injuries to Paul. That his head literally exploded. And whoever shot him with that shotgun was probably no more than 3 feet away. Maybe closer, maybe a little further away. His head exploded. You would be covered in blood from head to foot. Head to foot. In blood. They seized his clothes that night. SLED did. And they well, first of all, you're going to see in the videos from the officers that arrived that night, there's no blood on him. They didn't find any blood on him. SLED's testing indicated 12 different places on his shirt and pants, no human blood detected. Period. Okay? You'll see pictures, white t-shirt, no blood on it. Those are facts. Those aren't theories. Those are facts. Another fact that is, I think, the reason we're here today. When you hear those questions on the videotapes on the night, now he's found his wife and son brutally butchered. You can hear on the 911 tape, he is hysterical. He comes in and out. It's consistent. If any of you have ever, you got to use your experience as part of this deliberation process. Your human experience. Who's ever suffered the catastrophic loss of a friend or a family member. It's numbing. It's the minute you find out, or if you see them dead, it's numbing. You go into shock. So anything he said that night is in the context of just an hour or two before finding his wife and son butchered. He drove back up to the house while he was on 911 saying, I got to get a gun, that whoever did this might be out there. And he gets a gun. What's fascinating about that is he gets a 12 gauge shotgun and he grabs some shells. These people hunt a lot, they have guns everywhere. He grabs some shells, he puts a 16 gauge, a 12 gauge, grabbed a 12 gauge shotgun, put a 12 gauge buckshot in, and then he put a 16 gauge buckshot in. That's how shook up he was. Guy hunted all his life, and he put a shell in that he couldn't fire a 16 gauge from a 12 gauge. Makes no sense. He was traumatized. GSR, their own expert at SLED said the amount of particles of GSR are consistent with him going up and picking that shotgun up. They want to talk about GSR? Again, if you fired a shotgun twice and a rifle 6 times, you'd be covered in GSR. Those are the facts. That's not his theory. The facts. Now let's talk a little bit about these ARs. Again, you're going to hear testimony. A lot of guns. They had a gun room. You know, I don't live in Calhoun County. I live in downtown Columbia. Ain't no gun rooms in downtown Columbia. But apparently if you live on 1,100 acres and you hunt deer and you hunt whatever they were planting those sunflowers for, quail, I guess. You have a lot of guns. The truth is, in 2017, and you'll hear the testimony, that Alec bought 2 Blackouts, one for Paul and one for Buster, his other son who's sitting out in the audience. And Paul had his stolen. He bought another one for Paul. Now, Paul was very irresponsible with guns, cars. He'd leave guns around. He'd leave guns in cars. He oftentimes left guns down at the dog pens, in the feed room. Now, I can't tell you whether he was shot with his own weapon or not, or his mom was shot with his weapon or not. But I can tell you that they weren't shot by Alice. They don't have the guns. There's no way to tell conclusively without having the weapons what weapons those were fired by, and we'll be talking a little bit with the SWAT experts about that. The sort of overarching issue here is why murder on June 7th, 2021, why is it September of 2022 before they charge him? And I will tell you what happened that night, and this is a problem. He's questioned, and the questioning is pretty aggressive. You'll hear it. He's traumatized. They suspect him. They show up, he's got a shotgun. They suspect him. And the next morning, 2 people found butchered here in Colleton County, Moselle Road. The police announced, don't worry, there's no danger to y'all. There's nobody out there that could pose a danger to you. Because you see, they decided that night he did it. Without forensics, without cell phones, without any of that. And they've been pounding that square peg in the round hole for the last, well, since June of 2021, resulting in charges in September of 22. And so, if he felt, and he did, and you'll hear it, the accusatory fashion he's being interviewed in, he may not have dealt all the facts. But by the way, whether he'd been down to the dog pens that night or not, really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. Because you're going to see cell phone activity that would be, let me put it to you this way. Paul's phone, 850. Maggie's phone, later than that, 854. Clearly, is still being used. At 9:06, he's up at the house, getting in the car, cranking it up to drive over and see his mom. He says, a few hundred yards away, it's a little bit further than that. But the point of the matter is, he would have had to have executed both of them, got back up to the house, got the bloody clothes off, and by the way, they seized his clothes from that night. They've never searched his house for any other clothes that we know of, although that night, he gave permission and they got a search warrant. Go to my house. Go look through everything. Where are the bloody clothes? Where are the bloody clothes? And of course, I would tell you that they've woven this story together because they want everything to be consistent. What's important about that is the judge, and by the way, there's no eyewitness. There's no forensics tying him to the murder. When I say forensics, fingerprints, blood, whatever, tying him to shooting anybody that night. The cell phone records would indicate he would have had less than 10 minutes to kill him, get up to the house, get in the car and crank it up. He'd be covered in blood. Now, if they think he was beginning to establish an alibi, there's no evidence of that. The evidence is consistent with him seeing them earlier at the dog pen. And by the way, that audio they have of him and Maggie, they're talking about one of the dogs killing a chicken. And they were debating whether it was a guinea hen or a chicken. No animosity. Very normal discussion. Paul's very happy. And we know that Paul, after that, is texting back and forth with a girl about going to the movies. Nobody's down there threatening him. Daddy's not pulling out a shotgun and killing him. For, 10 minutes after that, he's texting this girl. So, big question. One shooter or two? Two guns, shotgun and an AR. And by the way, Maggie has no defensive wounds because she's running. What's she running from? And could you shoot? Typically she had a little shed right, probably 150 feet from the feed room on the other side of a wall. Perhaps she heard the shotgun blast and came around and saw somebody or 2 people, and whoever it was opened up. Was there enough time to kill Paul and then find the AR and then ambush Maggie? Much more likely there were two people, but again, we don't have to prove anything. Let me sort of share the framework in which you should examine this. You have agreed to follow the law, and here's the law. Here is the law. He didn't do it. He is presumed innocent. As you sit there right now, when you look at him, you have to believe he is innocent. He didn't do it. Now let me tell you, that's so difficult to do. I get it. And the way maybe the best way to explain it is this. This morning or yesterday, nobody really reads newspapers anymore, but if you're reading the newspaper, looking at the internet, and you read the police had arrested somebody for some heinous crime, the natural inclination of everybody, all of y'all, is to say, thank God they caught him or her. Thank God that person is in custody. And you did something that's so natural. We all do it. You presumed the police had arrested the person that committed the crime. You presumed him or her guilty. That is the natural thing to do. And you know what? That's fine for you to do. Any other day except today. Because you took an oath to follow the law. And the law is, he is innocent. He's presumed innocent. That is your presumption. Your mental framework is, he didn't do it. They've got to prove it to me beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, what's even more difficult, and this isn't a contest, this isn't a game, this isn't who wins and who loses. This is about justice. You know, Oliver Wendell Holmes, one of the justices of the Supreme Court, once said, jury duty is the highest duty a citizen can perform for their country in peacetime.
Thank you, lay jury
Because
box,
you
for serving your duty.
Are protecting us from them, from the state, from the government. That's the foundation of our Constitution, is that the individual has the right to be presumed innocent, has the right to a jury trial, has a right to have his or her peers sit in judgment of it. That's you. And the framework is you presume him innocent, and you cannot convict him until the state proves to you beyond a reasonable doubt of his guilt. And a reasonable doubt is the kind of doubt which would cause an ordinary person to hesitate to act in the more important decisions in their life. Now, what makes this even more complicated is there's no direct evidence. There's no eyewitness. There's no camera. There's no fingerprints. There's no forensics tying him to the crime. None. None. I say that without any fear of contradiction whatsoever. None. And what the judge is going to tell you is, to the extent the state relies on circumstantial evidence, the circumstances must be consistent with each other, and when taken together, point conclusively to the guilt of the accused beyond a reasonable doubt. If these circumstances merely portray the defendant's behavior as suspicious, the proof has failed. Now, this smoke they've created is about suspicion. I mean, if you show up at the scene and you got the wife, the wife especially dead, and the guy's got a shotgun, you know, it's pretty logical for the cops to jump to the conclusion he did it. And the problem is that as they came to that conclusion, they have pounded that square peg in the round hole, and you're going to hear about it. They've ignored some witnesses. For instance, that blue tarp showed up with a blue tarp. That witness who said he showed up with a blue tarp was shown a blue rain jacket that he talked about. Said, that's not it. That's not what he brought here that morning. I talked to her. She says, no, it was a blue tarp. And what was it?
I object to him testifying, Your Honor. Objection sustained.
I would indicate,
Objection is sustained. You may proceed.
I would tell you that the testimony you're going to hear is inconsistent with the Attorney General's represented to you. based on interviews done by people other than me. So, what I'm telling you is this, that as you sit here and listen, every time there's a witness that takes that witness stand that the state's put up there, you see, you judge the credibility, whether to believe a witness or not believe a witness, whether to believe one witness against many, many against one. You're going to have to evaluate the testimony you hear from this witness stand with a critical eye. Critical eye. I mean, if you've got uncontested scientific evidence, you accept it. I've got no problem with that. These cell phone records he keeps talking about, I would say to you, are not necessarily accurate to the extent they're lying. I will also tell you that there's going to be a bunch of people, and I will, that have been promised something or threatened with something, that may take the witness stand and say something. But I tell you what they're not going to say. They're not going to say they saw him kill him. They're not going to say that they were involved in it. They're not going to say anything that would give you a comfort level in their testimony. Now, all of you have indicated that you will follow the law. And I say this one last time. He didn't do it. He didn't kill Butcher, his son and wife. And you need to put from your mind any suggestion that he did. You've been picked because you said you could be fair. You were picked because you said you could follow the law. You were picked because Alec Murdaugh believes that you can be fair. Now, if during this process over the next however long we're here, I say something or do something, which most certainly based on my career I will do, that irritates you or angers you, sometimes I'm a little abrupt. Don't hold that against Alec, hold it against me. If I say something that offends you in some way, don't hold that against Alec, hold it against me. Remember, as you sit there right now, in your mind, he didn't do it. He is innocent. He would require a verdict of not guilty from you. That's the law. That's your oath. Thank you.
Right. All right, let's take a pause for the cause. Let's get, let's get some conversation going. What do we think about these opening statements? So we just heard from both sides, the prosecution and the defense. Oh, wow, OG Wu Chow said the opening statement sucks. Who, the defense is? I would need new counsel for real? I just gave him my So, OG Wu Chow, you think, Apollo, do you think the prosecutions was better? Or you just think the defense definitely sucks? I thought it was very dramatical. I thought he laid out different things that made me say, that's right. Where's the blood? That's right. Why would it's terrible. I need a whole new jury. What y'all thought about the opening statement? I thought the opening remarks not they both gave opening remarks. I thought that the prosecution opening statement sucked. It started off so fast. It was just like from the time the judge say opening statements, prosecution, I literally thought I had pushed fast forward or something. I think so too, Miss Self 219. To me, the defense made me think, quite honestly, with the prosecution, he just, I don't know, he just came out the gate. I I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. I didn't hear no motive, but you don't have to have a motive. I didn't feel like he laid it out. I can't even remember nothing from the prosecution opening statements. You know, if I had to go home right now and I just listen to that as a juror, and I just listen to both opening statements and then say, okay, we'll see y'all tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to remember shit that the prosecution said, but then I would be able to remember what the defense said. The only thing I remember from the prosecution was him saying, it's gonna be a lot of evidence from the phones. But hey, everybody's entitled to their own freedom of thought around here. That's why we talked about it. So right now, it seems like a few of y'all is more impressed with the state and a couple of us is more impressed with the prosecution. But we shall see. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know why this woman right here with the red hair, what's about, oh, maybe that's a piece of blonde hair. Is that a piece of blonde hair in the front? Is that a blonde streak in the front of her hair, or is that her scalp? I have to go back and watch. But this defense attorney comes off like a snake oil salesman or one of those prosperity preachers selling you fabric and oil at 2 a.m. on BET. Oh, Lord. Now, he did come across kind of like that when he said, stand up, Alex. And then let's say this about the prosecution. How can you trust a prosecuting attorney who don't even know how to say the damn the defendant name right? He keep calling, hey, family in 6 box, welcome back to the jury box, the little jury box. How can I trust him to be serious when he don't even know the man's name? He keep calling the defendant Alec when his name is Alex. Know that he didn't come up here working the wrong case. Let's continue with the first witness. Thank y'all for joining me. Make sure y'all hitting the like. Make sure y'all tune in. This is day 1 of the Murdaugh family murders trial. This is day 1. We meet every night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Trial Watch with Demetra at Monday through Thursday. Let's continue. Ain't nothing to continue on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to send you to the jury room for a break while I discuss scheduling with everyone. Please do not discuss the case. As I mentioned to you earlier, you're not allowed to discuss the case at all.
Okay.
Until you've heard the entire case and you've heard the instructions of law. So please go to the jury room.
He's so dignified. Ooh, look at him. Alex can be Alec or Murdaugh. Wait a minute. Alex can be Alec, Murdaugh or Murdaugh. He isn't the only one that calls him Alec. Owls do. Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. What? Oh, okay. He isn't the only one that calls him Alec. It's due to his father's name or family being the same. Oh, okay. So maybe that's a South Carolina thing. You know what I'm saying? Let me take this down because that's. Oh, I can't talk tonight. That's one of the reasons why earlier I had such a problem, because for some strange reason on day 1 of the trial, maybe they only did the opening statements on day 1 because evidence from day 1 of witness testimony. Well, no, it's so strange because when I pulled it up, it only had this part. That's why I had. Okay, let me be quiet. I can't. Hold on. I can't do everything at one time. Let me stop talking. Okay, speak amongst yourself. Okay, hold on. And then they got one that say day 1, and then Alec is up there talking. You know that's not day 1. Okay, maybe this is it. This 6 hours. Okay, this got to be it. Let's see. Excuse me. Oh, I got some fresh coffee up in there. Y'all, I don't know. Was it M. Renee? Somebody told me I shouldn't be drinking so much coffee, especially late at night. And I literally stopped drinking, making coffee at night. I must admit, tonight is the first night since that time that I've literally made a fresh pot of coffee, not a whole pot, at nighttime. And I haven't been drinking any. Oh my God, I'm having a hard time finding, like, for some reason they saying day one, but then it's not being the day. Oh my gosh, let me see. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, first day of testimony. Okay, got it. They must have split it up. Okay, let's make this edit. I don't think I'm gonna have this problem with all the other days. Just this day one was strange. Why do y'all come up in here with all that when I'm live? Shit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for day number,
And we're back, you guys.
I guess day number 4 of this session of court, day number 2 of this trial. As I instructed you prior to us commencing yesterday with the opening statements, you're not to...
Y'all, what y'all hear right now is our 2 mascots at a standoff, okay? So what they literally do is come by my desk. They sit right in each other's face. They lay down right in each other's face and growl and bark to each other. And then Apollo, he does it and then start running because he want Rock to chase him. And I'm telling y'all, when Rock actually gets up to, like, if Rock just sick of his ass and he actually gets up to engage with him, he tackles the dog shit out of Apollo. Do you hear me? Sometimes he tackle Apollo so goddamn hard. I think last night he bumped into Apollo. And Apollo had steady been fucking with him, right? And then Rock gave him what he was looking for, right? And Rock charged him. I was in my bed. But I can literally hear Apollo fly about 20 goddamn feet. I'm laughing because Apollo gonna be a tough little puppy. He can take it. Okay? He can take it. And he just now when he can't take it, like last night when he got tossed 20 feet in the air, his ass came running up in there and laid down somewhere. But then I got y'all, I owe y'all some videos. I'm gonna get on top of it. Okay, let's get into this first witness. Let me go fix some coffee. I'm not making no more coffee in the evening, but I did make it tonight, so let's get into it.
Listen, watch, or read any news accounts of this case, or discuss it with anyone, or allow anyone to discuss it with you, or in your presence. Has that occurred as to any jurors? All right, very good. It's very important that you keep that, follow
This
that
judge look like
instruction.
a deacon, or he look like a minister.
I know that many of you are not, but
he ain't
if at any time...
Help you God.
I do.
Thank you. You may have a seat. Adjust that microphone so that it fits you comfortably. And if you'll state your name and spell your last name for the record.
My full name is Daniel Green. My last name Greene.
Sergeant Green, how you doing today?
I'm good.
All right, tell us where you work.
I work for the Carleton County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, and your rank is sergeant, obviously, is that correct?
That's correct.
Tell us just a little bit about yourself. Just give us just a little bit of your background that led you to your career in law enforcement, if you would, please.
Sure. Yes.
Lights are on.
Lights were on, siren was on.
Okay, hold on. We skipped his
The left as well as the shed area. There's a very dark area.
And
Don't forget, this
My
is
shift.
best of. We will be skipping through the.
did you ultimately respond to that location?
I did.
What was reported to you
Okay, here we go.
that led to the call for service from dispatch?
That there was a caller who stated he had found his wife and son shot.
And so tell me what happens then. You get that report. What do you do?
So I get that call for service. Obviously, we immediately respond. In situations like that, we would respond with lights and sirens to get there as quickly as possible.
You're driving fast to get there?
Yes.
The lights are on?
Lights were on, siren was on. I think it still took me close to 20 minutes to actually get to the scene from where I was. But
You have to ask dispatch to clarify the address?
I did, once I got out there, it's a very dark area, very rural area on Moselle Road. There were not a whole lot of residences in the area, and I did need clarification once I got out there to confirm the address. Then I located the address on a mailbox across the street from a driveway.
So you saw the mailbox in the driveway you entered, is that correct?
That's correct.
The driveway that you entered that had this mailbox, where did it ultimately lead? What structures were there as you pulled up to the scene?
As I pulled down the long driveway, when I got to the end of it, there was a dog kennel area on the left as well as a shed area on the right.
And that was the driveway with the mailbox, correct?
That was,
Is this location where the scene was, is it in Colleton County?
it is.
Tell me just a little bit before we get into more specifics. What was the, you said it was dark. What was the weather like? What was the conditions of the scene or the weather in the scene like?
So quite normal for June around here. It's rather hot and humid. It had been raining a little bit off and on that evening. It was not raining at the time that I actually responded to the scene.
Okay. Were you the first law enforcement officer or first responder on the scene?
I was.
Were there others, other first responders following close behind?
The additional first responder that was directly behind me worked for Colleton County Fire Rescue. He pulled in almost the same time I did.
When you had arrived at the scene, before we talk about, what you actually experienced at this scene, what is your main job at a scene like this? What are you there to do as a first responder, the first officer on the scene?
So a major crime scene like that, my job is to get there, secure the scene. And what I mean by secure the scene is ensure that there are no individuals there that would potentially cause harm to additional first responders coming there or any witnesses or victims that are already on scene. Preserve any evidence that might be there, and then wait for investigators to arrive as I gather information from anybody else that is already on scene.
Okay. So you're going to gather basic information, but your job's not to investigate it in great detail. Is
That's
that
correct.
Okay. As you arrived at this scene, again, what had been reported to you by dispatch?
That a male caller had called and said he found his wife and son shot.
And from that report to you, about how long did it take you to ultimately make it onto the scene?
It was roughly about 20 minutes.
When you arrived on scene, when you said one of the things that you do is secure the scene, were you at all concerned about any perpetrator still being there at that point in time?
When I arrived, not necessarily, just because he had already been there for quite a while. Whenever he called, it seemed the way the call came in that he discovered them like that and that there was nobody else there other than him and the wife and son.
So you're the first officer on scene, but you're not thinking the perpetrators are still there.
It's something you have to keep in the back of your mind, but not necessarily at the forefront.
Okay. All right. You didn't come in hot with guns drawn or anything like that?
No.
When you arrived at the scene and you walked and got out of your car, what did you see?
So as soon as I got out of my vehicle, I was walking down the rest of the driveway, which went between the dog kennel and the shed. As I could see Mr. Murdaugh down at the end of the driveway. As I approached toward him, I could see the male victim laying on the ground to my left, as well as the female victim on the ground to my right. The male victim was close to a small shed in the dog kennel on the left. There was a large deal of blood that had pooled around his body. Same thing for the female victim on the right. Also a large amount of blood around her body.
As you approached and at first saw the male victim and the female victim, what was your assessment? Was there any possible signs of life from your...
My initial assessment was that there was not. There appeared to be a large amount of blood around each of them, as well as brain matter.
Did you ultimately have a conversation with Mr. Murdaugh when you were out there?
I did.
All right. And do you see him here in the courtroom today, the person that you talked to?
I do.
And can you point him out to the jury, please?
Yes, sir. He's right there, wearing a dark blue or black jacket.
Your Honor, can the record reflect that he's identified Mr. Murdaugh?
It does.
When you ultimately approached Mr. Murdaugh, what's the first thing that you did?
The first thing I did was ensure that he did not have any weapons on him. That's standard procedure for arriving on a scene like that. Any kind of weapons that are anywhere on the scene, I want to be aware of just so I can know whether they're there or not, and if they are there, who has access to them at any point. And that's for my safety as well as other responding officers and for anyone else that's on scene.
Did Mr. Murdaugh give you any possible explanation for this when you approached him?
His immediate reaction was to start telling me about an incident that had happened with his son with a boating accident.
With the boating accident?
Yes, sir.
Had you asked him anything about that?
I did not.
You ultimately, were you wearing a body-worn camera that particular day?
I was.
You ultimately had a conversation with Mr. Murdaugh for a fairly extended period of time, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you ever see any tears in your interactions with Mr. Murdaugh?
He did not appear to be crying. He was upset, but I did not see any visible tears.
Did Mr. Murdaugh tell you that he had any sort of firearm?
He did. He stated that he had left from that scene, went to the residence, grabbed a shotgun from that residence, and then brought it back because he felt like he needed to have it just in case something else were to happen.
He told you he had gone back to the residence after finding the victims to get that gun.
He did.
What, if anything, did you do once he told you that he had gotten a gun?
First, he pointed out where the gun was. It was leaning against the vehicle that he was driving at the time. I could see that it was a camouflage shotgun. I spoke with him for a few more minutes, and just based off of how nervous he was acting and anxious and upset, I decided it was in everyone's best interest to get that shotgun and secure it in my vehicle so that no one else had access to it.
Okay. So you put that shotgun in your vehicle, is that correct?
I did.
What did you ultimately do with that shotgun? Did you later turn it on over to additional law enforcement?
Yes, after it was secured in my vehicle, once SLED arrived on scene to do their further investigation, it was then turned over to SLED.
Bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
Your Honor. State 3, I believe I've moved with Ms. Adams without objection.
Submitted without objection.
May I ask that we have the Elmo working, please? Judge, do you want to see it first? I believe it's submitted without objection. It's not a graphic image.
Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish it to the jury?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to put what's been marked as... I'm going to put what's been marked as State's Exhibit 3 up on the screen and see if I can get it the right way. All right. You can't see it. Can you see that? You probably can't.
I can.
You can? All right. And do you recognize the what's in that particular image?
I do.
All right. And tell me what that is, please.
That's the shotgun that I secured in my vehicle on the scene.
Okay. See,
What the hell they doing?
Say, Mr. Waters.
Yes, sir.
Patient. It's taking them a long time to get whatever they trying to get together.
Say, Mr. Waters.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Hey, props.
Sergeant Green, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 4 for identification at this time. And see if you recognize this particular item.
Yes, sir, that would be the shotgun that I secured.
All right. Your Honor, this time we will move Exhibit 4 into evidence.
Objection. Any objection?
No, sir.
Admitted.
May I have Sergeant Green show this firearm to the jury?
Yes.
Be sure not to point at anybody, of course. You know what gauge that firearm is?
Please, it's all good.
Thank you. All right, Sergeant Green, I'm going to show you one other document before we move on to some other matters. All right, Your Honor, I believe I'd move to admit it states Exhibit 2 without objection.
And no objection, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to show this exhibit to you real quick and see if you recognize this document.
Yes, sir, that would be the chain of custody for the shotgun.
All right, is there a signature on that document?
It is.
All right, and what does this chain document reflect? Can you just generally explain what this means to the jury, please?
That I originally took possession of that weapon and then turned it over to SLED investigators.
All right. May I publish this exhibit, Your Honor?
Yes.
SLED is the top investigative police enforcement
So up
agency
here it
in
lists
South
that there was a
Carolina.
Benelli Super Black Eagle. Did you unload this particular shotgun?
I did not.
Okay. But you ultimately turned the shotgun in its loaded state over to the agent listed here, is that
I
correct?
did. I did.
Did you alter or change the weapon in any way between the time you took it and the time you took it over to SLED?
No, I didn't manipulate it in any way.
Sergeant Green, I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification at this time as State's Exhibit Number 1, see if you recognize this.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, and can you tell the jury what this is on this desk right here?
That would be the body camera footage from that incident.
From
Oh, we
your
love
arrival at
body
Moselle
cam
Road and through the investigation until at some point you turned it off after it no longer needed to be on, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, Your Honor, at this time I'll move to admit State's Exhibit Number 1.
That clarification, that is this officer's body cam, which is a camera that's mounted on his body, is that correct?
That's correct. It's mounted
Okay.
on me. Yeah.
Say admitted.
Your Honor, permission to publish this exhibit to the jury. I'll need the... Your Honor, I would point out that there are graphic images on this, so everybody needs to cover up their monitors, please.
And I'm not gonna get to see.
Parties to control what
What was
is
that? Okay, I now believe he
presented and
did
published
drugs. He
in
just did a
accordance with the
classic
court's
drug
order.
mouth.
The parties to police that yourselves.
Your Honor, we intend on covering the screen up when he gets to the graphic images and then uncovering it.
They come pretty quickly, as you.
I remember. So, Mr. Griffin's ready.
Yeah, stay in town. I'm heading out there.
Advise a female shot in the head. The son is shot also, not breathing. Stand by further.
717 around Moselle.
Sergeant Green, this is your body cam video, is that correct?
That's correct.
The first 15 minutes or so of this video are you running code, running at full speed or at least reasonable speed to get to this scene as fast as you can, is that correct?
Yes, sir. My lights and siren were activated so I can get there quickly.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to fast forward it until he arrives, I believe without objection from the defense.
Without objection, Your Honor.
Central on 818 is going to be stationed at Moselle on Cross Swamp.
10-20.
Central Battalion 1 to air, waiting for.
Past the driveway that I was supposed to have turned down. Like I said, everything's kind of dark out there. It wasn't clearly indicated, so.
Central, that was 4147 or 57?
4147. Keep your vehicle in the driveway with the flashes on. That's for me to call her.
Copy, I'm going on scene. It's got a long driveway, but the mailbox out front is labeled. It's not at the end of the driveway. It might be up by the house.
The mailbox with the correct number for 4147 Moselle?
It is.
And is that the incident location where you discovered the victims?
That's correct.
Copy.
I'm getting out. Let's call her now.
Copy.
2 miles out.
Share.
Right there to the left of the screen, what did you see right there?
To the left was Paul's body. He was laying face down on the ground. Large pool of blood around him, as well as a great deal of water that was immediately around his body.
Was it that water, was it just around, was it down the entire kennel concrete pad, or was it mostly just?
No, you could see walking down the kennel as I got out. The closer I got to Paul's body, the more water there was.
Had it been raining enough at this point in time to wet the entire, to cause that amount of water?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Objection overruled.
Answer the question, please.
I don't recall if it had been raining a whole lot that evening, but given where the water was, it did not appear that rain had caused that water.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is an objection. If I sustain the objection, you are to then disregard the question and any responses. If I overrule the objection, then you may consider the responses and the question is deemed appropriate. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I backed it up just a little bit, apparently too far, so I'm just going to roll from here again.
Central Sub wants the scene is secured at a Whiskey Fox, Whiskey Mike.
What are we seeing to the right of this image?
So on the right would be Maggie's body, also laying face down on the ground. A large pool of blood around her head.
And we see an individual standing. Who is that?
The individual standing in the background would be Mr. Murdaugh.
The person you previously identified in this courtroom?
That's correct.
Both gunshot wounds to the head.
And just to be clear, this location that you're standing right now is in Colleton County, is that correct?
It is, yes.
I want to let you know because of the scene, I did go get a gun and bring it down here.
It's in your vehicle? Do you have any guns on you at all?
No, sir, it's leaning up against the side of my car.
Okay. You're fine, man, you're fine. Turn around for me.
I don't have any.
Okay, yes, sir, I see that. Okay. This is your wife and son?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I noticed you shined your flashlight just a few seconds ago on the black vehicle. What did you shine your flashlight on just then?
You could see the shotgun leaning up against the side of that vehicle.
Were the flashers on the vehicle right there in the image?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
It's bad. Check the pulses.
Yes, sir. This is the firearm you brought from inside the house?
Sir, yes, sir. I went and this is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
You know, he's been getting like punched. I know that's what it is.
Okay. When did...
Was that when you previously testified that he mentioned the boat case or the boat wreck?
That's correct. Prior to me asking him anything about it, he did mention it.
Did you get home right when you called, or did you go to the house first? Where is the house?
I came to the house first. My mom has late stages Alzheimer's and my dad is in the hospital.
Okay.
I left, I don't know what time. I can go back on my phone and tell you the exact times. Did you check?
Okay. Did I check what?
Did you check them?
We got medical guys that are, that's what they're going to do, okay?
What are they doing? Can they hurry?
They are, yes, sir. That gentleman that was out here already, he's one of the battalion chiefs, okay?
Right before that discussion, did Mr. Murdaugh offer to go on his phone and check?
He did. He did. He wanted to verify exactly the timing of his arrival.
How did you pull up? You from back there?
I went to the house and they weren't home, which was odd. I tried to call.
Okay.
And then I knew they had been down here before I left to go to my mom's.
Okay.
And so that is loaded.
Okay.
You might want to unload it.
Is this the only firearm with you? This is the only one, or is there any more in the truck?
I believe that's it.
You think that's the only one? Okay.
I'm 99%.
Do you normally
certain that's
have any other firearms in your vehicle?
I don't, but
Okay.
occasionally there's a pistol in there.
Okay.
So you're putting something on your hands. What are you doing right there?
Those are just gloves so I could put on my hand to limit the contamination of any evidence.
You put those on before you handled the firearm, is that
Yes.
correct?
Just wait right here for me for a second, okay?
Copy.
What are you doing right now?
At this point, I'm walking back to my vehicle to secure that shotgun inside my vehicle.
We can actually see you holding it to the left of the screen, is that correct?
That's correct. That's me holding the barrel of that shotgun.
Explain to us real quick a body-worn camera. Where is that located and where are these images coming from?
I generally put it right here on my chest dead center in my chest.
And how is it activated? How is it turned off? Can you explain that to the jury a little bit? as well?
So most of these cameras are activated in the patrol vehicles that deputies on patrol have. They're activated whenever you activate your blue lights. So as soon as I turn my blue lights on, it activates my dash camera as well as my body-worn camera.
And then how do you ultimately turn it off?
It's got a button on the front of it that you can press. If it did not originally activate it, you would press that button to turn it on, to start the recording, and then whenever you're done recording, you press that same button to stop the recording.
In this particular instance, how did it get activated? Was it when you turned on your blue lights to run code to the scene?
That's correct. It was activated with my blue lights.
And I've used the term run code. Do you know what that means?
Yes.
And can you explain that to the jury, please?
Sure. Running code is just whenever you turn your lights on as well as your siren to get wherever you need to get fast.
When you're moving quickly to respond to an emergency situation.
That's correct.
653 out over. Go ahead, sir. Well, I've already spoken with Captain DOD.
Right there, you laid the shotgun inside your vehicle, is that correct?
That's correct. I laid it in front of the passenger seat in the front.
Did it remain there until it was turned over to SLED?
It did.
Go ahead, sir.
To the left of the screen, again, that's where the Paul was, is that correct?
That's correct. That's Paul laying on the ground.
And is that where you saw the water that you described earlier?
It is.
Well, I've already spoken with Captain DOD. Got crime scene in contact with him. He's also going to give us the assistance of a couple of field agents. Roger that. No, take this out.
They are dead, aren't they?
Just turn on those.
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
All the dead. Where are you now?
What is Mr. Murdaugh doing at this particular time?
He's on the phone pacing around talking to someone. I'm not sure who he was talking to at that point.
Did he ask you to confirm if they were dead?
He did. He asked multiple times while I was on scene.
Did you ever see him, any tears, any physical tears?
I did not.
Did you ever see him approach the bodies?
I did not see him approach them, no.
Did you observe any visible blood on him?
There was no blood on him that I could see.
The bodies, as you saw them, was there a lot of blood around them given the injuries they had suffered?
Yes, there was a pool of blood around each of the bodies that extended out from the body.
All right. Yeah, the police are here now. The police are here now.
Affirmative.
That's my brother.
Okay. When was the last time you were here with them? Or talked to them or anything like that?
It was earlier tonight. I don't know the exact time, but
Okay.
I left. I was probably gone an hour and a half from my mom's, and I saw them about 45 minutes before that.
Okay.
I rode around with Paul for 2 hours this afternoon in the pickup truck.
That's your son, Paul? Okay.
Somebody go to check him.
Yes, sir. They've already checked them.
They did check him?
Yes, sir.
It's official that they're dead?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
When you observed these victims, was it obvious that they had injuries incompatible with life?
Yes, any reasonable person that came upon those bodies would have come to a conclusion that they were deceased.
Sorry. I'm very sorry. Call her again.
What's her name?
Her name's Maggie Murdaugh. Margaret Brandstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What's her birthday?
Pause it right there. What did the defendant just say? Let me back it up.
Margaret Brandstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What did the defendant say right there?
So while I'm in the process of gathering information about the two victims from Mr. Murdaugh, somebody walks by behind me and he pauses what he's telling me to say, "Hey, how you doing?"
How you doing?
Yeah.
And who was that he said that to?
I'm not 100% certain. I believe it was a fire rescue individual.
What's her birthday?
9/15/68.
Okay, and what's your son's first name? You said Paul?
Paul Terry Murdaugh.
And what's his birthday?
Jay, if you have anybody
4.
coming through town that can stop and pick up that tent, I see lights off in the distance.
What are they covering them up?
I got some getting dressed now, Sheriff. I'll have somebody stop and grab it.
Tell them they don't have to do that. They don't need to. Preserve what we can.
653. Where's it at? I'm in town.
I should try to be Bill Day, because he's going to be the only one that's got access.
What's Paul's
to it
birthday?
right now.
Copy.
April 14th, 1999, sir.
Put it up as wide as you can. That's fine. You said 99?
Sir?
He was born in 99?
He was born April 14th, 1999.
Okay. What's your first name, sir?
My name is Alex Richard Alexander Murdaugh.
Let me ask you this. In your interactions with Mr. Murdaugh, was he able to understand your questions and respond appropriately to what you were asking?
Yes.
Was he catatonic in any way?
No. He was able to answer all the questions that I asked him.
Was he panicking in any way?
He seemed upset, but I wouldn't say panicky.
Did you notice any labored breathing or anything like that from Mr. Murdaugh?
Yeah, he was breathing heavily. Never once did he complain about not being able to breathe. I mean, there were fire rescue guys out there. He didn't ask for any kind of medical attention or anything like that due to not being able to breathe.
Richard Alexander Murdaugh?
You familiar with the location?
Okay, so what y'all want to do? Y'all want to let's do this. Let's let me do this. So we going to let me put this on my playlist, okay? Put this on a playlist. Let me write down the timestamp. 1 hour, 5 minutes. Okay. And then what we're going to do is, we're going to look at the body cam, okay? Because for some reason, it's not showing it on here. Body cam footage. Let's look at the body cam. And then we'll end this tonight, okay? Is it still on the screen? Okay, if you're enjoying this content, because hold on. Hold on. Quick promo. If you've been enjoying this content that we have started in the launching of Trial Watch with Demetra, January 2025, we've been going hard in the paint. If you're loving this type of content, if you're loving the commentary, if you're loving the company that you're keeping and the consistency, don't be afraid to let me know it. Don't be afraid to show it. The super chat function, the super sticker function, the like button, the subscribe button, the cash app button. All the buttons are fully functional. Again, all of the buttons are fully functional. And trust me, I will not be anything less than appreciative. Thank you in advance. Body cam footage.
Central 717 scene is secured at a Whiskey Fox, Whiskey Mike, both gunshot wounds to the head.
Copy. Copy.
I wanted to let you know because of the scene. I did go get a gun and bring it down here.
It's in your vehicle? Do you have any guns on you at all?
No, sir. It's leaning up against the side of my car.
Okay. You're fine, man. You're fine. Turn around for me.
I don't have any guns.
Okay. Yes, sir. I see that. Okay. This is your wife and son?
And son.
Okay.
It's bad. It's bad. Check the pulses.
Yes, sir. This is the firearm you brought from inside the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I went and got. This is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
You know, he's been getting like punched. I know that's somebody. I know that's what it is.
Okay. When did you get home? Right when you called, or did you go to the house first? Where is the house?
I came to the house first. My mom has late stages Alzheimer's, and my dad is in the hospital.
Okay.
I left. I don't know what time. I can go back on my phone and tell you the exact times. Did you check?
Okay. Did I check what?
Did you check them?
We got medical guys that are that's what they're gonna do. Okay.
What are they doing? Can they hurry?
They are. Yes, sir. That gentleman that was out here already, he's one of the battalion chiefs. Okay. How did you pull up? You from back there?
I went to the house and they weren't home, which was odd. I tried to call.
Okay.
And then I knew they had been down here before I left to go to my mom's.
Okay.
And so that is loaded.
Okay.
You might want to unload it. But I mean,
Is this the only firearm with you? This is the only one, or is there any more in the truck?
Copy.
I believe that's it.
You think that's the only one? Okay.
I'm 99%.
Do you normally
certain that's
have
right.
any other firearms in your vehicle?
I don't, but
Okay.
occasionally there's a pistol in there.
Okay. Just wait right here for me for a second, okay?
Central House.
Copy.
Kill your front lights, I can't see. Six 5 3 outside. Enjoy it, sir. Yeah, well, I've already spoken with Captain Deal. He's got crime scene. He's contacted them. He's also going to give us the assistance of a couple of field agents. Roger that.
I'm even checking. They're dead.
8 out.
They are dead, aren't
I
they?
just turned on those.
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
Randy. He's all dead. Where are you now? All right. Yeah, the police are here now. The police are here now.
Affirmative.
That's my brother.
Okay. When was the last time you were here with them? Or talked to them or anything like that?
It was earlier tonight. I don't know the exact time, but
Okay.
I left. I was probably gone an hour and a half from my mom's, and I saw them about 45 minutes before that.
Okay.
I rode around with Paul for 2 hours this afternoon in the pickup truck.
That's your son, Paul? Okay.
Somebody going to check him?
Yes, sir. They've already checked them.
They did check him?
Yes, sir.
It's official that they're dead?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
I'm sorry.
No. You're fine.
I'm very sorry. Gotta call her parents.
What's her name?
Her name is Maggie Murdaugh. Margaret Brandstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What's her birthday?
9/15/68.
Okay. And what's your son's first name? You said Paul?
Paul Carey Murdaugh.
And what's his birthday?
Jason, do you have anybody
4.
coming through town that could stop and pick up that tent? I see lighting off in the distance.
What are they covering them up?
I got some getting dressed now, Sheriff. I'll have somebody stop and grab it.
Tell them they don't have to do that. They don't need to. Preserve what we can.
653. Where's it at? I'm in town.
I actually tried to be Delta 8 because he's going to be the only one that's got access.
What's
to
Paul's
where it is
birthday?
right now.
Copy.
April 14th, 1999, sir.
Put it up as wide as you can.
I'm gonna say that either.
That's fine. You said 99?
Very bad acting.
Sir?
He was born in 99?
He was born April 14th, 1999.
Okay. What's your first name, sir?
My name is Alex Richard Alexander Murdaugh.
Richard Alexander Murdaugh?
You familiar with the location?
No. Hey, Cody, come around the truck and then go to the building. Come around the truck and then.
Set of prints off behind the table there.
Yes.
I don't know if it's from
What's
one of
that?
ours or not.
Baby, these country cops be damn near about to mess up a crime scene, huh? Shout out to the country boys.
So we can step over anything.
About 3, 3. Just 8's going to be the last one in and grabbing the tent.
We'll just go over to that corner of the building.
I'm almost to you. Let me see what we have first and whether or not we're going to handle that part or not.
I see quite a few tire tracks in here. Were any of these you going in and out?
No, I came in here and I left one time and I came back.
Okay.
But the rest of them, maybe.
I know one thing. I sure am glad I got my earphones on. My dogs be going
Did you
crazy.
go out this way at all?
No.
Well, it's right.
Hey, stay here. Got a whole bunch of stuff right there. I don't want to disturb.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to get the door here so we can kind of get around that way.
Your best way is probably going to be back through those rocks because we can't get any tracks off those rocks anymore.
We'll go back around the other way we just came.
Okay. Thank you.
H name.
Yep. Do you have a name or anything for him?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get that in a little bit then. That's
Okay.
fine.
They born is damn near big as some people's house, huh? If not bigger. The rich and the restless, baby. The rich and the restless. Look,
What unit is
money can't buy you happiness, peace, love, or a guaranteed safe life.
Are you behind the house?
Ain't that a mother?
There's several of us out here. There's a long dirt driveway right next to the mailbox that says 4147, and you'll see all our lights down here at this shed thing.
That a bitch.
You ain't come through Brick Collins.
Rich, restless, and scandalous. You better. Amen.
Delta 89 on duty. You're out to Mobile.
Delta 8, 653. Telephone Saturday.
Okay, foot soldier, we had to go back and we had to come catch this body cam footage, y'all, cause baby, the little name jury box say they got footage, we wants to see it.
Looking at shell cases?
Yeah.
300 black guys.
Where's the
I
footage?
think his brother. He said he was calling somebody. So.
He said what?
He said he was calling somebody.
Okay. If he was rolling up in
Yeah, I'm sure he was. There's a couple of shell casings right there.
Yeah, those will be easy to find. I was just marking a couple that were in the gravel. It might be harder to see at some point. Y'all familiar with this family?
Yes. I wasn't until he told me the names.
Look.
Last
Say your
name
later.
Murdaugh.
Look. Why does that matter?
I don't
Anything else you need?
think there's gonna be anything from anybody either.
Y'all see they talking about y'all familiar with this family?
What is that?
Because that's a
You said for Evo to do?
Okay, Livin.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna hold your seat.
Hey, watch your step. Huh?
Yeah, Lord. That's all we have to right
There
now.
are.
Yeah. That's all we have.
Okay.
X-ray one's gonna be in Rosedale Road.
Who is that?
The gentleman in the white shirt is the husband of her, father of him.
Look.
That is Paul Murdaugh. That's just his mother. Paul Murdaugh was that guy in the boating accident from a while back, if you remember.
Yeah.
You better say that, family. He look like he could be one of Trump's third cousins, huh?
Most likely. He did have a firearm whenever I pulled up. It's a shotgun. It's been secured in my vehicle.
It's 300 blackout. 300 blackout. Dude, I don't understand what the
717, when you get a chance, can you give this best phone call?
You will have to give me just a few minutes, but yes, I will.
I couldn't have been further away from this phone.
Yeah.
653.
Who can start a log?
653.
Who's the most expendable that can start a log? Let's put it that way.
This is. Can you start a crime scene log, please?
A log started. Sled's on the way. Let's push. Can we run the tape
2007 30
there to there?
Yes.
From that last
tape,
pole
go
right
start
there
a log.
to that last
Get a
pole?
piece of paper, start write names and times. You don't have any kind of paper?
Look. Hold on. Let me tell y'all what's happening right here. Right now, nobody, these country boys, this is a big deal, right? And they so want to see and be a part of the action. Nobody wants to go start the goddamn log. They didn't told these people, they tried to ask for volunteers. Nobody volunteered. They didn't point it out and pick somebody. His ass don't want to go do it. He don't want to go stand down at the end of the goddamn driveway and take a roll call of people coming in and out what time. He talking about he ain't got no goddamn pen and paper. If you don't get your scrub ass down to the end of the driveway and do your job, stop trying to be nosy. Boy, it's hard to find good help. I tell you.
Here, borrow that.
We can push it from that pole to that pole.
Yep. Sure.
Exactly. That's what's going on.
I do see some. That look old or fresh? Old, yes. I'll just hold the light for you. Go all the way to that post.
Damn. Hold on, we might not need to watch him doing all the taping off. Hold on.
Let's just keep our fingers crossed. I already wrote it in there.
Let's get a little closer.
All right. Okay.
Why are you not scared that whoever did it might still be there on the property? That's a big ass property with woods and dark spots and everything. We would do the same thing. I'd be like, D, go down and watch the gate. You'd be like, girl, no. I'd be like, nah, I think I see some over here in the bush. I'll be right back.
Inquire and I'll get back to you.
I would walk off and find me something to do as soon as I heard him the first time talking about somebody take long. I would have disappeared right then.
Okay. All right. I'll find out and give you a call back. Yep. I'll find out from him and give you a call back.
Hell yeah, this property huge. Look how big they sheds is. They are still in the property and they kept eyes on them, okay? Oh yeah, the shooter is still on the property. That's the kennels there. Boy, ain't nothing like that long money, huh?
That's right, I'm gonna grab a couple.
Well, I got some right here, Jake.
Hey, you want us to close that in?
Sir. Was that?
You want us to close it in?
Yeah. There's a guy in here. I don't know if you want me to let the other guy know, whoever Eric is. I used to call her. There's a guy over here that's wanting to talk to her. I told him to
Don't even know who Eric is. I know an Alex over there.
Alex.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a guy over here that wants to talk to him.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you wanted me to tell him that or if you wanted me to just chill for a minute. Or if you wanted me to escort him over.
He does not need to walk over there.
No, I mean a long way.
He does not need to go over there.
You can stay there then.
He can. Gotcha.
I thought they just told his ass to go do the law.
Caller and the caller's brother's name in here. Because I don't know the names yet, but I can get it. But I didn't.
I already wrote it in there.
Alright. I don't know where you were at. I just found the first empty page I can find.
Female victim, male caller.
And then the other guy though, I mean he hasn't came inside the tape yet.
Then don't have to worry about him. Just make sure you get the here.
It's that on-the-job training, huh?
Wow, so me and you and all of us got here.
Oh my God.
Is that what you're about to say?
Yes.
He don't know what to do, girl. He about to go let everybody in on the scene. Let me fast forward it, because this is the long version. I should have probably picked the shorter one where they got
And
it
that's all I
already.
have as far as times on this goes.
Now they mainly waiting for Sled. He's still sitting there messing with the paper. Oh my God. I'm about to fire him.
I have a call on the Jessica of a suspicious vehicle. Copy.
Wait a minute, is that the one that's on the stand now? It can't be. The one that's on the stand, this is body cam footage. They all look just the same. Shit. Big old fine country boys, country white boys. They whispering and shit. Uh-oh.
Fire rescue might have some more sheets we can steal.
That's right, it shouldn't be like 550 long, 40%.
There is his wall park.
Oh, that's a body. Hold on.
Well, the dad's over.
Oh, that's the body, y'all, over there to the right in that blurred out portion. 45, right? Okay, so now we're going to where the body is, y'all. Look, right there.
Well, the dad's over there. Actually, hold on. The people just want to.
Fire rescue might have some more sheets we can steal.
That's right, it shouldn't be anybody.
There is law enforcement back there.
Laying on the ground. Nothing right there.
So who y'all think just pulled up? The brother?
I don't know if I see it. I don't think he's gonna fit it in 300 blackout under there.
Not unless it's the shortest 300 blackouts ever been made. I don't think he put that phone back on.
I haven't asked the dad about the phone, but dad did say he came over and checked their pulses. Beyond that, I don't know what else he may have done.
Well, the problem is, you guys see that sitting on? Your dad picked the gun up.
He had a shotgun.
He did have a shotgun with him, and I have secured that in my vehicle.
Yeah, but it's an upward shot. There's his one over the ceiling. Water burning inside the room. Yeah, but that's because he put his head on it. So that was done. I think he's going to need his head back there. Right there.
There's a water right there.
Yep.
They say blood all over the ceiling.
So I've got multiple gunshots out of that window too.
Do we see a shell?
At least 3.
A shell.
Got it.
Yes.
You need in and out times or just times arrive? So like if they exit multiple times and come back in?
You don't need to keep doing all that.
Okay. I want to.
If he don't go stand his ass, here he go again. Once again, he not on his post checking the log. Once again, he didn't found his way in the middle of the action. Now he all the way over here to where they keeping the sheet with the body and the flashlights. He want to see what's behind that sheet. I hope his ass got rolled up. Okay? Boy. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's funny how when the big cops got there, the dogs got quiet. Y'all notice that? Just hard. You just had to get a peek behind that sheet. Okay? Oh my God. But do y'all notice all of a sudden the dogs done got super duper quiet now that they over there with the bodies? Somebody said earlier that the dogs trying to tell it. The dogs was like, hey, they got some people over here hurt. Why y'all not coming over here? Now that they're around the bodies, the dogs are quiet. Dogs are so smart.
Just so you know, I've got at least 5 holes in the window in the back of that shed where rounds were exiting out back that way.
Which is going to be about got because of the damn water on the floor. He was carrying a shotgun on the guy.
It is currently in my vehicle.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. His wife is dead.
Thank you.
Y'all just make sure on that side. That's it. Nobody else.
Oh, let me push mute. I'm sorry.
Slightly more confused now if that is a suicide.
How many pellets are normally in a buckshot?
10, 12.
The reason I asked is just because the holes that are in that window look very large.
Yeah, there's some glass.
Some of them larger, some of them smaller.
It'd be hard to, you'd need it in wood or something solid.
And there's a whole bunch of trees back there, so they might be able to find something in a tree. I don't know.
What are they thinking now?
Well,
I have no clue, but
he
here's
had a
what I'm
shotgun.
gonna do.
He had a shotgun. But don't know.
But basically, not his actual
Such
brain.
federal power and
brain
negative contact with any
is on the ceiling.
Go ahead and send me up.
So if you're shot at an upward angle, the shotgun wad laying on the floor,
Appreciate it.
that would point to suicide. It doesn't explain her or all the 300.
So he got here, took the shotgun?
That's what I'm thinking.
Possible.
But yeah, that's the outlier.
Yeah, that and the
300 black.
dozen shell casings from 300 Blackout.
I'm trying hard to eavesdrop because they trying to whisper and shit.
Is there a casing under this, or is it just chilling there? Okay, that's just chilling there. That's just trash. I'll stop.
It's okay, I got it.
Okay, appreciate you, Chad.
Those over there are not trash.
Correct.
I think this is where Cody decided to tie that back together, where his initial there was.
Gotcha.
Central 76 out of Malvern.
Welcome back to night shift.
Oh, that's terrible. I don't wish that on the motherfucker. No, I had to bury a child. Ain't no worse than that. Ain't gonna bury a child and a wife.
787. Copy, go. Good. Falcon Ferry and Jacksonville Road.
I'm gonna clear up. I'm not.
Got a sort of a vehicle.
Don't think I need you.
Where
Pickup
are you at?
truck in the ditch with the flashes
Yeah,
on.
where's your car? Is that here right there?
Call advised to get anyone around the vehicle. No signs of a wreck.
I'll be able to
After the
get
church.
people out of my way.
The first road on the right.
Yes, sir.
The shotgun he has where
It is currently in my
Copy.
passenger seat of my
From the
Tahoe.
46
Yes,
northbound.
sir. That's exactly what it was saying. It was leaning up against the truck right there whenever I grabbed it. Okay.
787.
I haven't even touched it to clear it.
for you as
It's
well if you need.
fully loaded, still sitting there.
That'd be great. Have a long ETA.
Yeah, Chad, if you want to, you might better get out before the rest of our rescue gets here. Because they're gonna block
I
it.
just want to check the CID and make
They're
sure.
bringing tents or something, or what are they doing?
I'm not sure what they're gonna do.
We really don't need any more fire rescue unless.
Randy.
That's Alex's bill.
I don't know.
I believe it was because he said he was calling his brother.
This is Randy.
Call him, Randy. I talked to Ronnie Cross, we talked to the attorney driver too, which is his law partner. He's under the here. Something around that. The tire tracks over here.
it's in 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Do you need me to lift the sheet at all so you can see closer to her body?
Now, how old do you think she is?
How old? Well, Cody's got my notebook where I had her date of birth in there. I don't remember what the guy told me off the top of my head. But I think somewhere around mid-40s. I think. Mm-hmm.
That's his wife.
Well, I knew it was his wife.
Right.
Okay.
What they said.
Yes.
I heard it was his wife, but I didn't hear her name. Her name.
Where did it look like she was at, Danny?
Her head.
They gossiping.
Look like a shotgun or rifle round?
Oh, that's a
I couldn't
big
tell.
old
There was a
boy.
big old hole coming out the back of her head. And hair all over the place, so it looked like it probably went in and then came out.
Oh, wow. It blew her hair off her head?
And his looked more like the top of his head.
The round on him had a big wad behind it, so it was a shot.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of 300, there's 300 blackout shell casings there, 3 of them right there, and then inside is a shotgun wadding, but we did not see a shotgun shell anywhere.
Which almost leads you, that's
What
two
kind of
shooters.
shotgun did you put in your truck?
I believe it's a 12 gauge.
No, no. What?
I don't.
Over and under auto.
I didn't never think about that if you get shot in the head like that, your hair blow off. And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm serious. I never thought about that.
That would answer the question.
Was there any blood?
I didn't look super closely at it. I was more concerned with getting it away from him and
But if he's,
securing it.
if he's stretched out, because it went in here, took everything out the top, but a pump shotgun, he's got, I guess if he fell, but both his hands were laying underneath his abdomen when he fell forward.
Which makes sense if he's got to reach down.
He's got to reach down to do that, yeah, because he'd have to hold it down here. Yeah.
Right there, that very first one with the blue lights.
It's in the tape. It's in here.
This front one right here. The wadding is right there. I lied, it's not a pump.
There? That's dirt.
Dirt. Yeah, it did have some dirt on the barrel.
That shotgun there?
It wasn't a pump. I thought it was, but it's not a pump. It's automatic.
All right.
Got one on the ride.
Am I okay to discontinue this?
Yes.
If I'm not talking to that guy?
Okay, sorry, y'all. My honey had called me, and I thought it had stopped. Okay, so the body cam. Okay, because I thought, because I was trying to open up something for my honey, I thought that I heard in my headphone that everything had stopped. And y'all know when I get to messing with stuff on other screens, it mess up the screen share, right? So I'm like, dang, honey, I'm messing up my whole life. But that's not what happened. What happened was that the body cam footage stopped, okay? So, my bad, you guys. So I think these idiots, oh, I can't, these idiots are thinking the kid did suicide. The son, Paul? It's the way you said, child. Now you know the truth of blowing your cap. Oh, Lord. Y'all think Alex thought he would get away with this? Heck yeah. But hey, what if Buster did it? We got action finally. OG, he absolutely thought he would. Oh, yeah. Yep, he did think it. Did he ever admit that he did it? Is he like another one that go into, they do all this trial and everything, and then finally they go to prison and get to admitting what they did and everything? Agreed. Okay, y'all, so I got to take care of some business for my honey. We didn't win an hour, about almost an hour over. So, oh, he haven't admitted it yet? Okay. So, this is the end of part 1, or episode 1 of this trial. And I don't know what I'm saying. This part 1, the conclusion. We'll meet here, same bad channel, same bad time, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. For part 2, we will be picking up, I wrote down the timestamp already, 1 hour, 5 minutes is where we're going to start, with Sergeant Green on the stand. And he will be talking about the footage we just saw, but at least we can reference it, right? If you guys, catch me tomorrow morning, I will be here between 10 and 11. It sounds so crazy. We are following a new trial. Black trial. Okay? We just started it. As they call it, the bedtime murderer. Young black family. The daddy accused of unaliving his daughter and shooting his son. And he claims that it was an accident. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and catch it tonight, so you can be ready for tomorrow. So we got 2 trials going. We got a lot of content pumping. Y'all get y'all rest so we can be ready to serve our duty in the Little Lane Jury Box. Good night. Good night, good night, good night. Uh-oh, I forgot to say, oh, here you go.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Like, comment and share. See you next time. Thanks for watching.